You're listening to Supervision with a Vision, where we discuss all things supervision. I'm your host, Sarah, professional counselor, marriage and family therapist, play therapist, eating disorder specialist, and cookie lover, with my co-host, Heather, marriage and family therapist, certified Together in Texas counselor, a Texas transplant from California, and outdoor adventurer. Hi, welcome to Supervision with a Vision. Today we're talking about overconfident supervisees. This week we read When Bad Looks Good, How Overconfidence Leads to Overlooking Danger, published in Psychology Today 2025. Heather, how do you feel about overconfident supervisees?
I mean, honestly, makes me a little crazy.
Yeah.
Makes me a little like, whatever that is. What feeling is that?
I don't know. Cartoon Garfield.
Right, there you go.
I think my reaction immediately is, how do I ask screening questions of a potential supervisee to help me know if they are overconfident / not really interested in learning?
Right.
I'd rather screen them out and
Right.
just go, I don't know that
Find somebody different.
my supervision is what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Because I really think that's it. It's not that I couldn't be their supervisee but I think they're wanting something different out of supervision than I'm offering.
I have a tell for you that might help. If someone is overly confident in the school of which they have graduated from, and they just think that they can't stop talking about
they're name dropping
constantly, or like talking about, somebody that spoke at their university, and they just really are driving that home. That to me is a red flag. I'm like, no.
Okay, so like not just the school, but they're also name dropping a specific professor that you're like, okay,
right.
I got it. You met them.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay. The first point is that red flags like this can impact assessment. So that means that being overconfident can impact your assessment.
Sure. I mean, if someone's overconfident and we don't see it as overconfident, we just think that they know their stuff.
Yeah, I think that means the person is overconfident, and so their assessment is flawed.
Right. So
right?
They're missing,
is that what it means?
Yeah. So they're missing something because they're overconfident in it. And I think that can go a bunch of different ways. But I think if they are already jumping to conclusions, a colleague of mine has a supervisee that worked in a family center, like a family program, and really came in with a strong, like, I've done all this work with couples and families, and really like,
I know my stuff.
I know all this. I know all these things. And then after she dug into a little bit more about what they knew, I mean, they knew all these things that were like 5 things that pretty much every counselor would know. Like, it's not like their experience didn't lend them that. That was like, let's hope you know that. Like, let's hope that you know how to have a conversation with a client coming in. Like, this is nothing more than what would be expected.
Or I guess I'm thinking like eating disorders in 2018. In the United States, our diagnostic criteria for eating disorders drastically changed. The language changed, the criteria changed, the labels changed. Right. What if you went to school in 2017?
Right, and you didn't get any of that, so and you didn't do an update, right?
And you haven't run into a situation where you would have been updated that you're getting the wrong red flags. It impacts your assessment. So, but say you're really confident in your ability to diagnose, but you just don't have the right information. Right. You don't have current information.
Holes in your information.
So feeling overconfident can impact how we assess our supervisees, how our supervisees are assessing what they're doing or their clients. Can you think of it? Do you have an example of a time where you're like, oh, the supervisee their assessment was off, or your assessment was off?
I've had a supervisee that had an assessment that really was going by parent report, took a lot of what was said and then when meeting with the child was like, these two things are not the same. Like
Yeah.
what the parent report said and what,
Yeah.
and they were gung ho off the parent report because the parent had, all the paperwork from the doctors and the schools and all the, and then how the child presented in session was not anywhere near what this was.
That's a good example. I'm thinking what maybe like you've done this assessment, but you didn't maybe get all the right questions. I feel like that can happen very easily for a new supervisee.
Yes.
They're doing an intake or they're doing some kind of assessment. They're gathering information and maybe they've gathered lots of good information, but let's say they didn't ask about, I don't know, did this kid meet their developmental milestones on time?
Right.
And you're like, I mean, I've seen the kid or I've met the kid and I'm talking to the parents and I asked about health history, but a lot of times I think I've asked parents like, okay, well, tell me about your pregnancy and developmental milestones. Did you hit and then they're like, oh, right. They were in the NICU for,
oh, yeah, that's important.
That is really important for a lot of reasons. Or maybe you've asked all these questions, but you didn't ask about school performance. Or you didn't ask and maybe you do ask about school performance, but you didn't specifically ask, have they ever not moved on to the next grade? Right. And the answer to school performance is, oh, we're so proud of them. They're making A's. Oh, okay. But you didn't move on to second grade with the rest of your class.
So there must be
So something was going on. Or even if it's more social, emotional and not academic.
Right.
But, oh, yeah, I forgot. They missed all of third grade because they were
sick or.
Right, yeah.
I missed a big one when I was an intern, like one of my first or second clients. The kiddo coming in was having all of these like disengaged behaviors and like sleeping in class. And I'd gone through this whole big assessment and did all the things I could think of asking and answered all these questions and had it all right. And then like my supervisor and I were talking about it and he said, and what medications does the child take? Oh, whoops. Didn't answer that question. And sure enough, that was like one of the big problems was that he was taking this medication in the morning when he woke up and it was making him groggy throughout the day. And really, it's like, oh, I mean, he didn't fix everything, but still it was like, that's a big one to miss.
Yeah. Oh, like 4 Benadryl.
Right. You're like,
oh. Well, that's why you're drooling on the desk. Yeah. Okay. So the next point the article makes is that red flags can be taken out of context.
Okay.
I feel like this one sleeping, right? You could be totally going down this path of like they don't have a good sleep routine.
Right. We're going to talk about sleep hygiene. We're going to talk about bedtime.
Right. And you're like, oh, and that.
Right.
You're taking something really sedate. You're on NyQuil every day. Duh. Okay. Can you think of other where you're like, this could be misunderstood or misapplied, and it just ends up meaning something totally different?
Something that just kind of crossed my mind. I don't have a concrete example yet, but I think this can happen a lot if you don't know the family's culture.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't play that into it, because that can be, we can read that wrong if we don't share the same culture as that family.
Yeah. Oh, this is a perfect example. The first eating disorder program I worked in, they weren't doing it when I was there, but later, with referrals from that program to me, families were telling me that the kids were asked to plan and choose their meals and snacks so they could choose from a menu. And so it was a challenge to these kids who are working on taking care of their bodies to choose things that met the requirements that were, I mean, some kids with eating disorders have a hard time choosing a combination of food that actually tastes good or goes together. So all of those things are challenges for them or something that they're working on. And that these families were telling me that routinely the kids were choosing tortillas and beans and eggs for breakfast.
Okay.
And that they were basically being reprimanded for not choosing something appropriate. We live in Texas.
Right. Like, that's pretty normal around here.
Yeah. I mean, most places around here, even on a menu at a restaurant, would have breakfast tacos.
Right. Right. It's pretty standard.
Yeah. So, and they were like reprimanded or not given credit for their effort
Right, because that's what they pick.
well, because they were choosing things that were not appropriate,
Right, that's a lunch food.
Didn't go together.
Right.
And I'm like, huh. But right,
Right.
have taken into context.
Right.
Like, so what does this family eat at home for breakfast? Maybe that's what they actually have at breakfast every day. Then it's definitely appropriate for them. And also, just any kid in Texas, I was like, yeah, breakfast tacos.
Right.
That's
standard.
Yeah. Red flags can be taken out of context. Can you think of that with a supervisee? Even as we're talking about supervisees that are overconfident, what if we, as the supervisor, misread and feel like they're being overconfident or not open?
That could really disrupt a session real quick. I think that being a supervisee coming in and being overconfident, and we're like, oh, they've got it. Like we could just be ignoring what they really needed help in.
I hadn't thought about this in a while. I had a supervisee that I was helping them prepare for groups. They were going to facilitate some groups. And in doing that, they had watched me do a couple. Then we co-facilitated with me taking the lead. Then I would help come up with the activity, but they would co-facilitate with them taking more of the lead. And so one day I'm like, okay, it's time for liftoff. You're going to do the group. I'll help you talk through the activity, but I'm not going to co-lead. I'm not going to be in the room. You are ready. And the activity, and I thought, okay, I've assessed this and I feel like they're ready and they're confident and they can do this. And they fell on their face. It was, I think it was Shame Resilience was the name of the group that they were leading.
Okay.
And the art directive that they gave started out with, okay, make a list of all the things that you're ashamed of. And later, one of the teenagers in the group said the whole group just went like, ugh.
Right.
Like we
the air out of the room.
Punched you in your stomach like, ugh. That's step one.
Right.
And what are we going to do with this list?
I don't want anyone to see my list. Yeah.
That they all got stuck and no one in the group wanted to write.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But I maybe could, and I helped think through that activity. So I knew where the idea was going. It just was, was a rough way to start. So I think I misassessed and felt like this person was ready and here we go. And in context, maybe like thinking about the context of that. In the situations that they'd been given so far, they'd been able to be successful.
Right.
That with someone there, with someone guiding what the activity would be, that they were able to reflect and interject and be a part of the group, but to be it without any support around them.
Just wasn't timing. Right.
So I think I've done that. I feel like I'm trying to think of a supervisee that I determined or assessed as being overconfident and maybe a little bit problematic, that they weren't open to learning or taking feedback, and then realizing, oh, I misjudged.
Okay.
Maybe they were ready for feedback. Maybe they're not too overly confident. I don't know that feel like I've run into that.
I don't know that I've had anything as straightforward as that. Like, oh, no, maybe they are. I read it wrong. I think that it usually is the opposite. Like, I read that they've got it, and then they don't. But I think,
I don't know. Maybe this is like my perspective on the overconfidence. I think that comes out as defensive. Maybe, as a defense mechanism.
Right.
Meaning they look overconfident, but they don't actually feel very confident. And so then their reaction to whatever it is that I'm saying or doing appears as though they're telling me, no, I've got it. I know how to handle this. When in actuality, they don't actually feel very confident.
Right. That's true. I think I can relate as an intern feeling that way. Like, okay, I'm supposed to put my best face on so my supervisor thinks I have it. It's all okay. And then going, wait, I'm not sure I have it.
Yeah. What about when you were a supervisee and you had a supervisor? Did you feel overconfident?
No.
Or you were faking it?
Faking it. Never felt overconfident.
Well, no, what about just confident? Did
No,
you
I
ever
think I
feel
was confident, yes. Especially when so my background was in child development. So especially when it came to like family system stuff or any of
Yeah.
that, I was very confident
Yeah.
because I could rattle off those like milestones and all the things like
Yeah.
instantly.
Yeah.
But I mean, one of my supervisors in particular was very like she thought that I just could do anything. Like she
Yeah.
just and I was like, no. How do you want me to do that? No, I don't want to talk to that parent. You know, like that kind of
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
But she was like, oh, well, you have a background in child development. You've talked to parents all the time. Very different to talk to a preschool teacher about your kid's day than it is to talk about
Yeah.
therapy things.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that I ever felt overconfident, but maybe I was like, as a supervisee, dumb enough to not
I was just going to say, I think what you don't know, you don't know. That's how I was. If you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah, like how many times the things that I was doing were kind of difficult, and I just went like, yeah, sure, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And not knowing this could be hard.
It's the whole trial by fire.
Mhm,
Jump in, you'll be
mhm,
fine.
mhm. Um, yeah, I think I'm trying to think. I feel like this was the very first time I did family therapy or a parent consultation. I can't remember one before. But I was working at an inpatient unit, and I remember her first and last name will stick with me forever. Um, she was 14 years old and she was prostituting.
Oh, wow.
And man, I wasn't that much older than she was.
Right. You're like, whoo.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
And her dad was deployed outside of the United States for most of her childhood. Like there'd
Wow.
been times back where he'd been
Home for,
stateside
yeah.
and then gone again, but the majority
Mm-hmm.
he'd been gone, and he came to do family therapy.
Wow.
And one, I thought before I actually sat down with him, I thought I was feeling kind of intimidated just
Sure.
by him, not having met him,
Right.
I mean, maybe just kind of picturing what I thought
Mm-hmm.
this tough guy
Right.
would be like, and that his very sad, hurt,
Mm-hmm.
wounded little daughter, and she was tiny. She was the tiniest 14-year-old. What that would be, and she was tiny and sad and wounded, but also really angry,
Yeah.
really pissed off. So I thought, how am I going to manage these two? But even then, I remember thinking it, but it had to have been 5 minutes tops before I went, okay, here we are.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing family therapy.
We're doing
this. Is what this, we're doing family therapy. So maybe I just didn't know enough to be
right.
scared and or overconfident. Maybe I was just like, I don't know. I guess this is what
It's the
everybody
next
does.
thing. Right.
I think that is what I thought. I thought, I don't know. I mean, I'm a counselor now, so I guess this is what counselors do.
Right.
So
I just got to go with
I'll
it.
go do it.
Yeah.
Okay. The last point this article makes is that red flag signal strength can also confuse assessment. Meaning you see the red flag, but the signal is not very strong. So you think maybe it's
like you kind of
less important
yourself.
or more important.
Yeah, you're like, oh, that might be something to look at.
I have a different inpatient facility that I was working at. Totally misread the situation. The signal strength did not give me, or I misread it or whatever. But man, all these really sad situations coming to mind today. This kid was not 16. She was a teenager, so she had to be 13, 14, 15. And she had been in and out of inpatient facilities and residential facilities for a very long time without any break in between.
Oh.
And the nurse, I think she was admitted. I don't remember why we did it, but the nurses did a urine analysis for her and pregnant.
Oh.
So the nurse says to me, "Can you be with me? We're gonna
tell her.
We're gonna deliver the news." Okay, and so we're both being calm, and I don't know that I think I expected tears, maybe
or
something. No, totally misread that. Totally missed the signal strength, and instead she instantly became enraged and grabbed a giant fistful of my hair right at the top of my head.
Oh. Ow.
Yep. Pulled it out. Pulled out a giant fistful of my hair. And I'm like, I remember going like, and thinking, how did this
right. Right. And what am I supposed to do now?
how did I get in this situation? So I totally I mean, I
Right.
knew it was going to be a not good situation. We were
Sure.
prepared for, she's going to be upset, but the instant rage. And I think actually after letting my hair go,
Right.
calming down, she never apologized. It was that she thought we were accusing her of breaking a rule
Oh.
in the facility.
Okay.
And I mean, you did. I
Right.
don't know how you got pregnant in the facility
You were
without
in.
breaking a
Right.
rule. I mean, somewhere you broke a
Right.
rule because that's not what you're supposed to be doing. You're
Right.
right. But yeah, I totally misread that one.
Mm-hmm.
And for sure that I definitely am aware and thoughtful of that from now on.
Right. Anytime you're delivering that type of information.
I even catch myself occasionally and I'm thinking, am I within arm?
Right. How far can I be?
That's how far I want to be
Right.
far away from you because that's how long your arm is.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So sometimes
definitely the signal strength was not there.
Yeah, I missed that.
It was clouded.
I wasn't, I mean, let me think. That was within the first 2 years of me being a counselor.
Mm-hmm. I have a different experience, but I was working in a program with kiddos that were nonverbal.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a kiddo having a tantrum under a table that had already like destroyed a classroom,
Mm-hmm.
or to the level that the classroom could really be destroyed, but
Yeah.
you know, throwing chairs and all sorts of stuff. And for whatever reason, this is maybe I was overconfident.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to get under the table with the kiddo because that seemed, I mean, it wasn't instantly. It was like
Mm-hmm.
sat on the floor, scooted
Mm-hmm.
closer, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it, in my assessment, the kiddo seemed to be calming down.
Yeah.
Like, okay, all right, you know. And I like was like, coloring was this little girl's like thing she loved to do, and so I thought that I was like, okay, so yeah, we can color when you come out, and you know, we can do these things, and like checking all these boxes in my head about what I'm doing. And oh, she was angry, but your hair pulling reminded me, like in the flip out from under the table, like I got kicked in the face, there was like arms and hair pulled, and I mean just all different, like I think my shirt got ripped, like it was just a full-on tantrum that I was like could not get away from. Like you're kind of stuck because you're under a table.
Probably about the same time that that girl pulled my hair, and she was big. She was a big, tall girl for 13 or 14, however old she was. Similar at a Head Start daycare center. But it had to have been after she pulled my hair out because I was wise to the game.
Right. You're like, I can stand that.
And she did, and that it was a little boy, and he was so out of control, dysregulated. But he did not get my hair, and he did not hurt himself.
Okay.
And I felt a little bit like my ninja skills came out because, you know, he would try and like swing at me and I would move.
Right.
And at one point we were both sitting on the floor, and he was like him sitting on the floor with his legs straight out, and he started to go back and like rear back and hit his head on the floor.
Oh.
And my hand got under his head before it hit and I thought like, so at the end,
I'm so good at this.
Both of us were sweaty and out of breath and tired, and I'm like, oh, that was pretty good.
Yeah, oh, I did that one.
That one was pretty good that time. But he was sweet, and he did apologize. We're both sitting in the hallway. We like moved all around this classroom and out into and that was good too. That no other kids or teachers got hurt.
Right.
And I was able to move him to the hallway where we were in a safer place. We're sitting on the floor like that, sweaty and breathing hard, and eventually he says, "I'm sorry."
Ah.
Like, oh,
okay.
And then I said, "I know." And I said, when we sat there, we're still like, oh. And I said, "What do you want to do?" And he said, "Can I have water and play Play-Doh?" And I was like, yes. Yeah. Those are good ideas. Yeah, we can definitely do that. So then we get him a little cup of water, and we're playing Play-Doh, and he like we're sitting next to each other playing Play-Doh, and he like patted my arm really sweet. Like, which I thought he just was so dysregulated.
Right. And you knew if he just
and I mean, so it felt out of control to him too.
Right.
To be that out of control.
Right.
Okay, so sometimes we confuse the signal strength, and we can really miss it on an assessment. Heather and I are interested to hear more about the ways that you assess your supervisees and or clients. And as always, we would love to hear about suggestions for future episodes of Supervision with a Vision. You've been listening to Supervision with a Vision. Head on over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Therapy Academy to join the conversation and get show notes. We'll be back next week with more Supervision with a Vision.